motherfucking house. Just the boots on my phone. Motherfucking man. Motherfucking rap. And you motherfuckers know how to make money. So what's that?
Welcome, golf fans, pursuers of knowledge and the almighty dollar. This is your golf guru bringing you the first look at the 2021 Shriners Hospital and Children Open. And yes, I changed my intro. Thank you, Apache, because that is what we are trying to do. We are trying to make money, make. And let's get into this. So first, I'm just going to recap how things went down at the Chicken Open, the Sanderson Farms, and then we'll jump right into the first look at the course, the players, who we're going to be targeting, some people to keep an eye on, some betting odds, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm going to try to get this wrapped up in 20 minutes or less so you can get on with it. But let's real quick go over this. I think it's always worthwhile to take a look at, what happened in the previous tournament. It will help us in the next one. So real quick, the Super Chalk, it's Scotty Scheffler, 22% owned, hooking everything off the tee, struggled, didn't get to play in the U.S. Open due to COVID-19. And it was his first time out in, over 3 or 4 weeks. And it showed. He has some rust. But as he got along with it on the weekend, did better. But for the price, the T37 and 73 fantasy points did not cut it. So hopefully you might have faded Scotty. Cam Davis, he was coming in pretty highly owned, but got you a T6, 14 under, over 100 points. Well worth the price. And as I mentioned on the show previously when I was doing my picks and talked about the chalk, I do not say do not play the chalk. I just say, hey, these guys are chalky. Make sure you don't have them all in the same lineup or a lot of them in the same lineup, or you're not going to gain any leverage on the field. And typically, some chalk's good and some chalk's bad. And the bad chalk, where I had Sam Burns, who I thought actually was going to win this thing. He's amazing on Bermuda greens, fast Bermuda greens, and coming off his recent play at the Corrales, I thought would be great. And he puked all over the place. So Sanjay, same. Watched a lot of Sanjay. Didn't get to watch a lot of Sam, but you could see, his numbers, struggled with the approach, struggled around the green. Sanjay actually hit the ball well, really struggled with the putter. And that's what's amazing is his stats somehow came out where he was almost 4.5 strokes. So something's not adding up there because that guy couldn't make a 3-footer. So I didn't get to see him on Sunday a whole lot. So maybe he was just dropping everything on Sunday. He did shoot 6 under. But again, Sanjay kind of disappointed. And then Doc pretty much sitting around, same things. You got T28, almost same points. And he struggled a little bit around the green and putting, but as Doc typically does, tee to green was solid. So that was the chalk. You had Burns miss, you had Scotty kind of underperform, you had Cam overperform. And I would put Sanjay and Doc that I'd say they kind of underperformed for the price and how much was touted. Then my pivots, this blew up all over me. I'm not going to go in all the details, but Adam, I thought he was going to come out. I know he had the one bad day at Corrales, but, he struggled and just brought that with him. He couldn't do anything right. Brian Harmon for the cost. Also, I think he underperformed. You can see where it stuck out around the green. He hurt. Substraka missed the cut by a stroke, which, was too bad. I like to see him make it to the weekend, but the approach and the putting was negative. And then Carlos Ortiz, who has done very well here and even at comp courses like Houston Open, the Country Club of Houston, in a third and fourth here in past history, really struggled on approach, which is, not typical for Carlos and around the green. The one bright spot of my pivots was Charlie Hoffman, who was your leader, I believe, going into Saturday morning. And then just, I think on moving day, he didn't go anywhere. He just stayed dead neutral. I think he shot even par. Ultimately, gained great off the tee, almost gained 7 strokes putting, but approach and around the green kind of hurt him. But, ended up at T6, and for that price, that's an overperformer. But, he was not chalky, but people had their eyes on him. I was wrong about Swafford. Said, hey, he's in great form. Putter looks great. Bermuda versus Pass Paulsum. I'm going to mess that up every time. Pass Paulsum are very similar. But I guess maybe he did go out and party because he played like crap, missed the cut. And Lucas Glover, another guy that we were looking for guys that could putt and go low. Lucas can go low, but he hasn't had that great recent form, and his putter can be, either very hot or very cold. But honestly, where he struggled was approaching around the green. It wasn't so much with the putter. And then the value plays, you know, I call the sleepers. None of them really did anything except Vincent made the cut, and then just stunk it up and shot 5 over. So he made the cut. The rest of the guys, I'm not going to go into all of them, but none of them did anything worth talking about. None of them made the cut. So none of the value plays came in. This was a positive. So this was the Wednesday right before the tournament. I put out my, you know, diamonds in the rough, the hidden gems. And all 3 of these guys made a cut, and Stuart Singh got you a T12, and did amazing. I don't. Little side note that his son's been on the bag for him, even at his win here recently, and at Safeway, and just I guess his son's going to go back to his real-time gig at Delta. And I guess if he would have T6 or better, he was going to keep his son, and his regular caddy was going to be on hiatus or on hold. But I guess his caddy will be heading to Vegas. I'm believing he's in the lineup. I'll have to take a look. But so that's just a little side. Charles Schwartzell, you know, did what we were looking for. He putted lights out and did okay everywhere else. So, you know, got a T32. And then Clarkey made the cut and then just stunk it up, shot 8 over on the weekend. So, but they all made the cut. They all got you some decent points. So if you somehow plug these guys in, you would done all right. And then not going to even go into it, but my winner just killed me. He gets the Poop Head Award. You know, Burnsy, he usually had his name written all over this for me. And if you're the past show, I was between M and Burns, and neither would have done, but I mean, M would have been better. So with that in mind, it just blew up my lineups left and right, and we'll get into that a little bit. Let's talk about the winner real quick here. Sergio Garcia, first win on the PGA Tour since his Masters win over 3 years ago. And real quickly, the stats below here is showing what he did over the 4 days and just killed it, which we knew, and I knew, off the tee, approach, all's been great. He's good around the green, but he's a terrible putter. I mean, usually just a disastrous putter. All of a sudden starts closing his eyes when he's making a stroke, and things started dropping. So it worked for him. And I guess, you know, he said he's been doing it for, you know, off and on for the past 3 years. But, you know, I highlighted here that, you know, we knew the stats, but we also knew that if you take this and draw a line across the middle at 100 is PGA average. And so he's 187. So almost one of the worst, you know, one of the worst putters on tour. And so typically Sergio, if he has a couple hot Thursday, Friday, typically the weekend, it just falls apart. So good for him, but that's why I wasn't on him for this. So let's take a look at someone that was on him, the winning lineup, and had Garcia in there. And really, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but what you'll see, how this guy pulled it off, Mendizzle 81, you know, Molinari and Norlander, who, you know, was struggling recently, had good form, you know, everybody was on him. But Molinari, who actually is a past winner at the Sanderson Farm, which I did not go that far back. So shame on me. I did get on Molinari early on when I saw what was going on, because the guy does shoot, you know, can go very low. But that was a little too late. And then, of course, Munoz play, you know, you can see he had the 8 under and then just stunk it up. So that goes back. I was not on Munoz. Just something about guys that try to come back and repeat. Like I said, the last time off the top of my head is Paul Casey at Valspar. That's the last one I could think of who came back and repeated. Usually they just struggle. It's almost the same as my Swafford. You know, they win a tournament. The next weekend, typically struggle for whatever reasons. So my best lineup, I only did 7 lineups, hand built. I do more on the bigger tournaments. I've been doing a lot more on the Showdowns. But you can see real quickly is, you know, I show this just probably that, hey, I'm not just throwing these names out there and information for your guys' health, honestly, or for my health. It is, you know, all of my time spent doing the research and trying to figure out who's our best plays, and that's who I play. And I'm just literally putting this in form for you guys to benefit from it, save you some time. But in short, Ortiz and Straka nuked that lineup, and you know, the other guys in Clark, you know, doing absolutely nothing on the weekend. But talking about the Showdowns, I just wanted to go over this real quick. Of course, you know, if your lineups are kind of going sideways, you always got the weekend golf, the 2 days. But, you know, Showdowns is a great way to reap back some of your cash. I hit a bunch of these 4-man events. So this is the $85 when you play against 3 other people, and winner take all is $300. They also have a 267 that I do. You can win $1,000. I highly recommend these. You have a 25% chance going in of winning, no matter how, what you do. But if you take some of the stuff that I'm providing, a little bit of your own just research during the tournament, trying to figure out tee times, looking at wind, you can win some cash, because a lot of the guys, I don't say a lot, but some of the people that play these, I think they know what they're doing, but they might not be always doing the deep dive research. They might just be going with the names and what they know of these players in the past. But golf is very hard to predict, hence showing from even what happened this week, compared to Corrales, where I nailed a lot of good things for us. And this week I was off, because you're using historical information trying to predict the future. And sometimes, history does repeat itself, but, it's a very difficult to hit all these right. So anyways, just side note on that. Let's get into Shriners. So just real quick. So this is in Vegas. It is the TPC Summerlin, also known as the Summy. It is a par 71 that they will be playing as a par 72 for members. It is a private course. You have bent greens and Bermuda, everything else. If you want to visually try to understand what this course looks like, I will put a link to, there's a flyby and a couple holes. But in short, cut into the desert, mountains. You have lush green fairways and greens, but at this time, I believe in the fall, all the rough will be dormant. So it'll be like that brown grass. From my understanding, it can be very difficult around the greens to get out of. But really what protects this course is the sand. There's sand all over, 105 sand bunkers, very little water. These greens are going to be quite a bit slower than what we just saw. Running at the CC of Jackson, the greens were running at 13 to 13.5 by the weekend. We're looking at a little less yardage, between 7,200 yards, and it's a very gettable course. You can see ranked 44th out of 51 in difficulty. The only time that this course probably people struggled, or the scores weren't 20 plus or under, was 2018. The 9 under won it, and I'll discuss a little bit why I have some past. And there's definitely history here since 2012. They've been playing here, and so we have a lot of good history. And then you're right, you can see some past winners. A lot of people also call this the Patrick Cantlay Open. As you see, he won in 2018 when I think he shot 9 under, which was the winning score, and then was runner-up back-to-back. So right off the bat, if you know Patrick Cantlay, he's solid everywhere. Recent form has not been good, but typically his approach is what is his best. And you can also see Kevin now, who lives in the area, lives in Vegas. Great approach, and good putter. At times it can be a little streaky, but a pretty good putter. And then Bryson, this is a pre-workout Bryson. Just had it solid. I think he shot 21 under to win. I think Nash shot 23 under in 2020. So we'll get a little more into exactly who we are looking for for a player profile for this upcoming event, but just gives you some quick information about the course and some past winners. And that's a good segue into who are we looking at. And so I kind of mentioned the sand. You can see past winners, really outgained by strokes, the top 5, top 10s in the past. So that's one area we'll be looking at. Ball striking, which I already discussed, is at a premium here. You can see driving accuracy is not as a premium here. So you got to remember dry air. Guys are going to hit it typically longer here than usual. So, everybody's, I don't think, even DeChambeau could run a boat race on this course. So, we got to look at that. But really, it's going to come down to guys from proximity to hole that are just sticking their approaches. And as you see, greens and regulation is very, very live for the player profile that we'll be looking at here. So I wanted to just show you past conditions. So, everything looks, the last couple of years here, everything's pretty simple. It says green speed is fast. Everything I've heard is it's not going to be like it was with, at the Sanderson Farms. But you can see there back in 2018, when you see this windy AF, that's windy as fuck, caused these greens to firm up. So you're landing them on them and they're just rolling off. And also the fairways, the same thing. You've got hard, dried out fairways, no matter where you put it, if it's roll, you're probably not going to be counted as a fairway, even though you hit it in the center. Maybe if it rolls off in the rough, it's counted as a missed fairway. So I highly doubt that will be the case for the upcoming tournament. But if you are looking and just do an analysis and see, 23 under, 21 under, 9 under, and then back into the, high teens, 20s, that was what it was. It was just weather, and that can happen. So just real quick, I'm starting to do more on the straight up betting side. So I'm also doing, of course, the fantasy stuff. But I think there's definitely during, I'll still call it the swing season, during this time, there's going to be some nice long shots out there that can win some of these tournaments. And selfishly myself, I recently, Michigan is where I'm from. They just opened up, sports betting here legally, and a casino by me has it. And so I'm going to start doing that. It's not available on FanDuel or DraftKings yet by a phone app. That's supposed to be turned on starting of the new year. But so I'm going to be getting into this, and so I'm going to start providing a little more insights into the betting side, along with also the draft side. And this was just so you get a quick look. As I mentioned, this is a really nice field that we have, so something to be excited about, comparative to the past couple tournaments. And there's some names that already kind of stick out to my eye, but you got a lot of the big guys are going to be here. You don't have the top. You don't, I mean, DeChambeau's here, and you got Simpson and Finau, but you don't have JT, Justin, Rory, but you still have, some of the best. So it's going to be a great tournament. I didn't just, typically I don't do this, but I wanted just real quickly, I put together a really quick model from the information I've already pulled. And so this is just a quick look. And, it blew my mind when I did this at Francesco Molinari. I didn't even know he was in the field. I didn't know he was playing again. Well, this is his first tournament back since the restart. Even before, he was the last PGA, I think the last guy that's ranked world ranking above top 50 that didn't come back. So you had Stenson, who took a while. This is Francesco's first. And what I found out was he just made the move not too long ago from London to California. So that was part of it. He also had some back issues that he was dealing with, but he is back, and this will be his first event, I'm guessing, to prepare for the upcoming Masters. But just, I'm not saying that I'm going to be playing him. I might with it 125 to 1 odds, maybe throw a few bucks on him. But it was interesting that he popped up. And so, yeah, just note to self, he is in the field, and curious, what we do with that. So I got to do a lot more research, but he hasn't been playing. He hasn't been playing on Europe. I believe I'm trying to think what his last tournament was, but he, I think it was a WGC Mexico. I think he had like a 58th, then some miscuts, and then that was it. Poof, gone. Okay, enough about that. But yeah, just to give you kind of an understanding, there's some names. We mentioned Neiman, great iron player. Garcia, not a shocker. Funny enough, I would have probably been more on Garcia for this tournament than the last one, just because, like I said, I don't think putting is as critical, but approach and proximity. Sam Ryder's kind of an interesting one that pops up there. Kevin Stadler, that's interesting. Yeah. Anyways, and Morikawa, he a little recent form could be a little, but he could boat race this course too. So, anyways, moving on. This is I wanted to bring this up. So Camilo Villegas, if you're not a golf fan for a long time, this might not mean nothing to you, but at one time he was rivaling Tiger, as in he was one of the best. The guy used to call him the spider. To get down, like doing like a push up on the green to read the green. So, if you did know him, it'd be that. But he's been off for a while, a little bit like Molinari. He was dealing with family issues where his daughter, young daughter, just passed of brain cancer, which was just horrifying. But I want to bring it up. Good for him that he's finally getting his game back and focusing on it. But, with a 23rd finish that he just had. But what I want you to look at is what this guy did from a stats category. So he actually beat Sergio on approach, so strokes gained approach. If the guy didn't almost lose 6 strokes putting, he would have won this tournament. Total gain strokes, I think Garcia still edged him out. But in every category, this guy lit it up. And I was on him during, of course, Showdowns, but really didn't think twice about him. I did hear some rumblings that he was on a Corn Ferry, but it wasn't like he was winning tournaments on it. As you can see, he missed a cut at Safeway. He had a 36 at the Corn Ferry Tour Championship, the 58 at Nationwide. But I'm bringing this up. If you are doing some betting, I will probably have a bet on Camilo. Just, if this guy can carry his form and with a little slower putting greens, a little different surface, I got to do a little more research, but this guy might be live, at least even as a sleeper in building our lineup. So I just want to bring that to your attention. If you didn't see this, if you don't know Camilo, keep an eye out, man, because if he gets his game together, he could put something together here. So that's it. That's your quick first look. I appreciate your time. If you could do me the huge favor, if you are getting value from this, I do want to keep this going, but really could use your support and clicking the like button, share it with anyone that you think might be interested, and subscribe, because this is my first content that I do for the week on Mondays. Tuesdays, I am doing the actual deep dive projection, pivots, picks, my winners, the fades, the whole thing. And then I always release a little really quick video on Wednesday before you do lock your final lineups. If there's anything that I find or some players that popped up that, just weren't on my radar in the bill, or I find out some interesting information or weather, whatever it is, I'm going to share it with you. So that's it. I just wanted to bring all that to your attention, and let's have an amazing Shriners and have a great Monday.